This week on Out of the Air, our whole show features two-time Grammy Award-winning pianist, diatonic harmonica player, composer Howard Levy, an original member of Bela Fleck's The Flecktones. He's the world's foremost artist on the harmonica with numerous albums to his credit, including a concerto for harmonica and orchestra. Our spotlights on Art Barn's 9th annual Art Blitz on Saturday, September 20th.
Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. You're in the know with Esther and Larry. Art on the air today. Stay in the know with Larry and Esther. Art on the air our way. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart.
Welcome. You're listening to Art on the Air on Lakeshore Public Media, 89.1 FM, WVLP 103.1 FM, our weekly program covering the arts and arts events throughout Northwest Indiana and beyond. I'm Larry Breckner of New Perspectives Photography, right alongside here with Esther Golden of The Nest in Michigan City.
Aloha, everyone.
We're your hosts for Art on the Air. Art on the Air is heard every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Lakeshore Public Media, 89.1 FM, also streaming live at lakeshorepublicmedia.org, and is available on Lakeshore Public Media's website as a podcast. Also heard on Friday at 11 a.m. and Monday at 5 p.m. on WVLP 103.1 FM, streaming live at wvlp.org. Our spotlight interviews are also heard Wednesdays on Lakeshore Public Media. Information about Art on the Air is available at our website, breck.com/AOTA. That includes a complete show archive, spotlight interviews, plus our show is available on multiple podcast platforms, including NPR One. Please like us on Facebook, Art on the Air, WVLP, for information about upcoming shows and interviews. I'd like to welcome to Art on the Air Spotlight discussing the Art Barn's event coming up on September 20th on Saturday, the 9th annual Art Blitz, and it's going to be a wonderful thing. And we're going to have Melissa Washburn and Asia Bone talk us all about what's happening there this year. They had a great one last year, but tell us about what's going on, Melissa and Asia.
Hi, Larry and Esther. Thanks for having us.
Hi.
So this will be pretty much the same format as previous years. The event runs 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, September 20th. It's free admission, free parking, and we will have activity tickets for sale for a wide variety of hands-on art activities for the whole family. We will have a food truck and live entertainment. And some really special things new this year at Art Blitz are our art supplies garage sale, which will be indoors. We've been taking tons of donations of new and gently used art supplies. So if there are art teachers or art enthusiasts looking for some, different kinds of materials, we have everything from paper and canvases to watercolor sets, pastels, frames, art books, and it'll all be at garage sale prices. And then the other thing, following up on last year's Butterflies and Beyond Marketplace indoors, this year we will have several Art Barn instructors having a marketplace selling some of their own work and demonstrating their art. So if anyone's curious about taking classes at the Art Barn, that will be a great way to kind of see what we have to offer.
So tell us about the entertainment we are having this year.
So we do have a variety of different musicians coming. I know that Melissa got us into contact with two Spanish musicians.
Spanish guitar music from Latin America.
Yeah. So that's going to be new to Art Blitz this year. I think we're also looking to bring back some usual like folk acoustic music. So that's kind of the vibe as far as entertainment goes at Art Blitz.
So it was so busy last year. Do you notice an increase in the class signups after Art Blitz? Is there more interest in everything?
Definitely. I think Art Blitz really fuels some of our fall signups, especially for areas like ceramics and our kids' classes. You know, people come and kind of try something out and get to see our full class schedule. So it's definitely a good opportunity for us to introduce what we do to the community.
I know last year the donkey was the star, everybody was coming to me asking, when? So I'm sure that's just the property itself is so magnificent. It's wonderful to get people out there to see it.
Yes, and we will have unicorn sightings again this year. And this year we'll have the return of hay rides. And instead of a tractor, we actually will have a horse-drawn wagon this year for the hay rides around the property.
That's
Excellent.
exciting.
How many people attend, as best you can tell? I know you used to have a 2-day version of this, but how many people come to see this event?
In past years, we've had anywhere from just under 400 to up to 600 or more people. I think the weather is a big factor in that. But I think the festival is becoming more well-known and we have more to offer. So hopefully we'll see good attendance this year as well.
Now, you have a new campaign going on that you're going to launch at this Art Blitz this year. So you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, that's our new membership program that we're launching at Art Blitz. So that will be the first day that you could sign up and become a founding member of the membership program at Art Barn. And that's going to include like a wide range of benefits, like some discounts for classes. We're thinking like a tri-annual discount for classes. NARM membership, which if you don't know what that is, that's a membership program that is nationwide that can get you access to free admission for different museums that are also NARM members. We're still finalizing some other membership benefits, but there will be more to come, and it will have, like the official launch will be at Art Blitz, which is exciting.
Yeah, and if you sign up at Art Blitz, you'll get some free activity tickets to use that day. So another little incentive.
Is there different membership levels, or have you worked that all out yet?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be different levels of membership. There's going to be individual and family levels. And then if you're interested in giving more to the Art Barn to support, there will be higher membership levels. But again, we'll give some more like clear, detailed information closer to the event with that.
So what else do you have coming up after Art Blitz?
We'll have a new exhibit, right, Melissa? The endangered species exhibit, I think is.
Yeah, and that features 4 regional artists, really spectacular work. And our fall class schedule actually will go live next week. So we have a wide variety of classes. We're adding some new classes this fall, including a gouache painting class and a charcoal drawing class, and opening up a lot of our adult classes to slightly younger students. So ages 16 and up will be able to attend many of our adult classes.
And we have art demos going on.
Yes. So far, we will have watercolor, felting, and digital art demonstrations. We're still getting instructors registered for that. And as far as activities the public can take part in, we'll have origami, t-shirt stenciling, our popular mural painting, and some printmaking, and a few other things as well.
As well as chair painting. You're still doing that?
And yes, we will still have chair painting.
Well, in our final minute here, let's recap everything that's going on there for Art Blitz.
Okay, Saturday, September 20th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come by again at Art Barn School of Art. Our address is 695 North 400 East in Valparaiso. And it's free admission, free parking, activity tickets for sale. We will have Chomp food truck here and live entertainment all day. It's a really great time, whether you can stop by for an hour or the whole day.
It's a great way to kick off the fall season, too.
Sounds great. Melissa Naja, thank you so much for coming on Art of the Year and sharing about the 9th Annual Art Blitz, Saturday, September 20th on Art of the Year.
Thank you so much. We'll see you there.
Yeah, so much fun. Thank you.
And a Spotlight Extra. Landscape artist Andrea Williams has a solo show, Passages, opening Saturday, September 6th, 4 to 7 p.m. at Willow Blooms in Highland, running through September. Art on the Air Spotlight and the complete 1-hour program on Sunday is brought to you by Ember Forge Consulting, thoughtful marketing and digital learning built to express your purpose and grow your reach. Learn more at emberforgeconsulting.com/grow. And as a reminder, if you'd like to have your event on Art on the Air Spotlight or have a longer feature interview, email us at aota@brech.com. That's aota@brech.com. You're invited to join us for an afternoon of jazz featuring the one and only Billy Foster along with his friends live in concert on the main stage at Indiana University Northwest on Saturday, September 20th at 3 p.m. Billy will be joined by fellow jazz musicians Bruce Evans, Lanny Turner, Bill Boris, Tim McNamara, Kobe Berry, and of course, Renee Miles Foster for a 2-hour concert. The audience is invited to a post-concert reception immediately afterwards. IUN and the Gary community will be celebrating Billy Foster's 60-plus years of great jazz music and his contributions to jazz in Northwest Indiana and beyond. General admission tickets, including both concert and reception, are only $15, available on the web at IU Northwest Arts and Entertainment Events. Don't miss this celebration of life and music of Billy Foster on September 20th at IUN's Main Stage Theater in the School of Arts and Sciences building at 3415 Broadway in Gary. Hope to see you there.
Hey, this is Bela Fleck, and you're listening to Art on the Air on Lakeshore Public Media, 89.1 FM, and on WVLP 103.1 FM.
We are delighted to welcome Howard Levy to Art on the Air. Howard is an acknowledged master of the diatonic harmonica, a superb pianist, innovative composer, educator, and producer. He has taken the harmonica out of the role of a folk or blues instrument into the worlds of jazz, classical, and Middle Eastern music. Howard has released more than 20 albums under his own name. The two-time Grammy Award winner tours as a solo artist with Trio Globo. He is also a founding member of the Bela Fleck and the Flecktones and his band, the Howard Levy Four. Plus, he is also founder of Balkan Samba Records. I've watched and appreciated him for decades with my dearest friend, Bonnie Kolak. Thank you for joining us on Art on the Air. Aloha and welcome, Howard. Magnificent seeing you.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Well, Howard, like we always like to know, and our audience always loves to know the background of our people. I call it their origin story. So tell us how you got from where you were to where you are now.
Well, I took a plane, actually. No, I grew up in New York, and my parents loved music, and so I was surrounded by a lot of classical music and Broadway stuff. And I started wanting to play the piano when I was very young. And as soon as they agreed to give me piano lessons, at age 8, I started improvising after the third lesson. And that led to my going to the Manhattan School of Music for 4 years and studying piano and theory. And, so I have a background in classical music, but I always was an improviser. And so as a result of that, making up my own music and then getting into playing rock and blues and jazz. And so, really, that's how I started out. And I got out to the Midwest when I attended Northwestern University back in 1969. I went to school for like 2 years, almost 2 years, and dropped out, went back to New York City for a year and a half. And New York was a rough place in the early and mid 1970s. And boy, I moved back out here, and I've been here ever since. And I sort of put down roots here and had a very, very flourishing career, I have to say, being based in the Chicago area.
Well, I'm going to take you back to elementary school. So tell us what that was like, and tell us what the family dynamic was like in regards to music. Did the grandparents play music? Kind of describe your whole
well, no,
childhood.
The parents did, but my father sang, and actually he's still alive. He's 102, and he's still singing. He's got an operatic baritone voice that's really beautiful. And so I heard him singing in the house all the time, and they listened to opera a lot and Broadway stuff, and they had parties where friends would come over and play music together. Someone would play piano, someone would play violin. There was one guy who brought a trombone. So there was a lot of music in the home. And so, and being in New York, that's the kind of the center of the musical universe in a lot of ways. And you have access to a tremendous amount of things. So as I grew and my musical interest grew, I was able to go hear people, like the best people in the world live, the best classical music, the best, all the touring artists that came through, and all the different kinds of pop and jazz, blues, everything was
so
there.
exciting.
So I'm curious about what drew you to the harmonica, which is, as Esther indicated in her intro, is actually considered kind of a folkish type thing, and taking it into the realm. One thing I've noticed about listening to your things in preparation for this is it almost can substitute for a saxophone in the jazz world in many ways. And the tone you get is it's different than what I usually a lot of times think of the harmonica. But what drew you to that instrument?
Well, I like everything you just said, so I'll answer the question. Back when I was in high school, we had a band, me and my friends, and we started out playing rock, and then we got into blues. And I just really fell in love with the sound of the blues harmonica, especially the Chicago blues players. And so I really wanted to play an instrument that I could put in my pocket and carry with me, and also to be able to bend notes, which on a piano, the note is the note. And you can do some things like kind of little illusions of bending, but you can't really bend a note. And so I tried playing with absolutely no success at all until I got to college, actually. And my freshman orientation week at Northwestern, I went to a rally for the Chicago Seven, which probably a lot of your listeners do know who those guys were.
Yeah.
And I'll make the story short because I walked out of there, and it was a very intense experience. There were like 500 of us crowded into this really small lecture hall, hearing all of these people speak. Abby Hoffman and Tom Hayden and Rennie Davis and David Dellinger and all those guys. And I didn't know a soul yet. It was my third day there, and I thought, well, what do I do? What do I do with myself? So why don't I try playing the harmonica again? I had it in my pocket, and suddenly, like something happened. I could bend notes and play blues licks. Like all the stuff, I knew what it was supposed to sound like, and it just happened like immediately. And so I was really excited. I felt like I had become a different person in the like the blink of an eye, So I just practiced obsessively on the instrument in my dorm room and any place that was resonant, like hallways and bathrooms, any place that had good acoustics, while I was going to school and, studying and playing piano in the Northwestern Jazz Band, which is, which I was doing too. And I soon got frustrated because the instrument didn't have all the notes on it, even with all the bends that I could do. And I thought, what's wrong with this instrument? It's a musical instrument. It must have all the notes. You can see I didn't do well in math and like that. I wasn't very logical. I was stubborn. And so I discovered some techniques that allowed me to play the missing notes. That's I don't want to get too geeky about it, but I just tried every combination of everything I could think of. And one day, this note that hadn't been there before popped out, one of the missing notes. And I very soon got 3 more, and then I got 2 more up on top of the instrument. And then I had a full 3-octave chromatic instrument.
Wow.
So right now you mentor so many people, but you had nobody. I mean, this is just purely just experimenting,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Because, I wanted to play the blues, but then after a while, I wanted to bring the instrument more like what the piano is, or a saxophone or something. Like, how come I can't play these notes that blues guitarists can play this lick, and I can't play it on the harmonica? Why not? So, And I had never heard anyone do it before. Years later, I heard a recording of one guy getting one note like that in 1931. Okay. Wow. That's how obscure it was. There's like 2 or 3 recorded examples that are totally obscure, but it was not in the mainstream at all. And none of the famous diatonic harmonica players did that at all. And there's a thing called the chromatic harmonica that has the button on the side. And so people said, well, if you want to play chromatically, why don't you play that? But that's a totally different instrument. It doesn't sound the same, and you can't really bend notes on it and get bluesy. So I know how to play it. I actually learned how to play it. But I never, especially in the last 20, 30 years, I never performed live on it, ever. It was just something I learned.
It's so interesting because when you listen to, you're quite aware that you're listening to a harmonica when it's played in that blues and folk genre. But the way you play it, it's just so transporting. I forget that it's a harmonica. Yeah. And it's just.
Yeah, I had the same feeling. Like it almost sounded like if you close your eyes, it almost has a sax, like a, soprano saxy type sound and everything. And
I do play saxophone too. I stopped a bunch of years ago, but I play a lot of other instruments. So when I'm playing a harmonica in my imagination, I'm trying to channel the sounds of all sorts of other instruments into it, violin and flute sometimes, and saxophone a lot, sometimes trumpet, which I don't play, but in my imagination, trombone, all sorts of
Right, because
sounds.
I can see that because listening to you with the orchestras, I would just close my eyes and it's just seamless. Really, it's so beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah, that concerto. That's a
Oh,
thing. It's funny because the orchestra that commissioned it, they called me one day in like 1999, maybe it was, or 98. I can't remember what year. And they wanted me to play one of the chromatic harmonica concertos that were composed for Larry Adler, the great virtuoso of the chromatic harmonica. And I said, well, I don't really play that instrument, but if you're interested, I could write one for the instrument I do play. And they said, don't call us, we'll call you. And I never thought I'd hear back from them. And a few months later, they called me and they said, yeah, we're interested in you writing a concerto. I said, you are? Because I had no training in like orchestration or, you know, everything was pretty much self-taught, you know, beyond my 4 years of music theory when I was, you know, a kid at Manhattan. And so I had to write a concerto, and I did. And I think it turned out pretty good. And I ended up recording it in Prague in 2004, I think, with the Czech National Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Paul Freeman, who also used to conduct the Chicago Sinfonietta, is a really, really good conductor. And I'm so happy that I actually got a recording of it, a professional recording of it done.
yeah, it's tantalizing.
Well, you know, since you brought that up, we were going to play a different song first off, but let's do the concerto for orchestra. And I guess this is just one of the movements, the Etude, Tango, and Caprice. And let's take a quick listen to that, and then you can talk about it. And that was Levy's Concerto for Diatonic Harmonica and Orchestra. That was the movement number 3 that you had. And so that's very interesting that you brought that up.
I know. For me, it was like a jumping, seamless, bright journey, and it was like grand and jaunty, and it made me laugh. I don't know. Here's the orchestra, but I'm laughing because it's just so bright and. Yeah.
Well, it was a thrill to record it and also to play it in concert with them at their beautiful concert hall called the Rudolfinum in Prague. It was a very, very special feeling. I've performed that piece about 35 times all over the world, and people seem to like it.
Yeah.
I've written another one. I have to let you know. My second concerto, which has a name so long that I can't remember it because it's a concerto, Eastern European concerto for single soloist on harmonica and piano.
Wow. So what's it like doing that? Where do you start and how do you, what's the first spark of it?
Wow. This one in particular, this was commissioned by an orchestra in Florida. And, I had a commission and a deadline, which is the first spark.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to say, just sit down, I'm just going to write a concerto. Like, why? You have to have the basic motivation that puts fear into you, that there's a date that you have to finish it by. But a lot of this music, I truly love music from Eastern Europe, Bulgaria, Macedonia, Greece, and all the other countries around there. And so
the Bulgarian women's choir. Oh,
that's beautiful stuff.
Oh, so beautiful.
And so I really love playing stuff like that on the harmonica, but also on piano. And I decided, my second concerto, instead of it being a harmonica concerto, why don't I do like everything that I can do? And this one is for full orchestra. The first one was for a slightly smaller orchestra. So this one has, all the heavy artillery is there. And it's longer. It's about 35 minutes long, 4 movements. And one of the movements I play quite a bit of simultaneous piano and harmonica, which is something, if you've seen me play, you've probably seen me do that. Because I see the harmonica in my mind as a piano keyboard. It's the only instrument that is totally invisible to the musician who's playing it, and there's no fingerings. Right. And so you just have this thing in your mouth, and like you can't see it. So you have to visualize something mentally. Some harmonica players see shapes, colors, whatever. But I see the piano keyboard almost all the time, in addition to shapes and colors.
Wow. Now, you don't just have one harmonica. I think it was the 10 holes kind of the standard, but you have a range of different ones that you play. And maybe tell us some of the difference of those.
Well, I just use the diatonic harmonica, the 10-hole.
Okay.
They come in all different keys, and I can play pretty much anything in any key on any of them. But there's a reason to want to use certain key harmonicas. I don't want to start demonstrating. I guess it'll turn into a harmonica lesson. But there are so many different kinds of harmonicas, and I'm proud to say that I don't use any other kind but this, basically.
So that's interesting because I saw you switch harmonicas with the symphony. Now, are you switching keys or are you just getting a fresh harmonica?
Either or. Actually, so you saw the video of me playing the concerto?
Yes.
The Evanston Symphony, that one?
Yes.
Yeah. Each movement of that first concerto uses a different key harmonica. Yeah.
Right. I saw you switching.
And sometimes if I switch in the middle of one movement, it means that I have 2 or 3 G harmonicas. And if one of them is is acting weird, I'll just quickly grab another one, that kind of thing. But that concerto, the first movement's for the G harmonica, second movement for A harmonica, the third movement for the C harmonica. I don't know why I did it, but I did it that way.
I don't know if you read the comments under them, but I was reading the comments, and one comment was, boy, you can tell how much they love him because they didn't make him wear a bow tie.
Yes, I didn't have to adhere to the dress code, being the rebellious soloist. Yeah.
So we want to talk about one of the other pieces you've done. It's in your album Steering by the Stars. I think that's all the way back to 2010, In the Village. Tell us a little bit about that, and we'll take a listen to that one.
Well, that's with Trio Globo, which is just a really, really special group. with the great cellist and composer Eugene Friesen and the amazing percussionist frame drummer and composer Glenn Velez. And we've had this band together for actually over 30 years. And this is our third album. There's more recordings, actually our fourth recording. This band, it covers a very, very broad range of material of the Brazilian influences and Indian and Eastern European and jazz and classical. It's kind of a combination of everything. And there's no bass player. So the bass role is sometimes taken by the cello pits, which Eugene is like one of the, and this tune that you're going to hear, he's one of the most innovative and greatest cellists at playing pizzicato, and he has a fantastic classical technique, and his arco bowed playing is really great too. And Glenn, on this one, is just playing a very small tambourine. It's, what is he using? I think he's using a rick, which is a Middle Eastern tambourine, R-I-Q. And he can make these little frame drums sound like a whole drum set, really. And I'm playing piano and harmonica simultaneously on this track. It was something that sometimes I overdub in the studio on these things, but this time I really wanted to do it simultaneously so that the flow is very organic. And I think I overdubbed harmonica in the final 25 seconds or something like that. So this tune is composed by Eugene, and it's called In the Village.
Well, let's take a listen to it on the Steering by Stars, and it's Howard Levy. And that was In the Village, Steering by the Stars, Howard Levy, and you're listening to him on Art on the Air on Lakeshore Public Media, 89.1 FM, and on WVLP, 103.1 FM.
Well, that felt like I was listening to like a tragic, complicated story that lightens. And so it felt like all the conversations you hear in a village, it was just like that for me, just kind of bounced around.
Thanks. Yeah, what I played on piano was totally improvised, and it was so compositional sounding that I basically memorized it and play it note for note when we play live.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
So how does, you're involved with so many bands and projects. How, is it just, you're at a club and, it just happens, or do they seek you out? Do you seek them out?
Oh, everything happens differently, and sometimes I form my own bands, obviously. But a lot of the bands I've joined are just like chance meetings, or somebody says, "Hey, listen to this guy. I heard about this guy," word of mouth. Because, I've played with so many different people over the years and been a part of regular touring bands with people very diverse. I used to tour with Kenny Loggins, and toured with John Prine back in the day. I recorded on 2 of his albums in the late 70s.
Wow. I saw Dolly Parton in there too.
Oh, Dolly, that was the most wonderful experience. Yeah, I'm on about 400 albums, I think. You want to hear the Dolly Parton story?
Sure, I would love a Dolly Parton story.
Well, Dolly met me at the front door of the studio. I was touring with the Flecktones, which I guess we'll talk about that a little bit too. This is one of our early tours, 1991, I think it was. We were playing out in L.A., and a good friend of mine was producing this album. It was a soundtrack for a movie called Straight Talk that she did. And so I walked in, and Dolly opened the door of the studio, and she looked at me and went, "Oh, you must be the harmonica player that CJ told me about. He says you're the best in the world." I said, "Well, I don't know about that." And she looked at me and said, "You hungry?" I said, "Oh, yeah," because I had, had a late night the night before playing at the Roxy with the Flecktones. I had stuffed myself into a taxi, took this long drive. I hadn't eaten anything. I had to get there on time. And she said, "How'd y'all like a little Southern white trash lunch?" I just cooked myself up some fried green tomatoes. I could remember it word for word. And she was the sweetest and funniest person, and much more than that, and spiritual too. It was just like amazing vibe. And I played, and she loved what I did. And I walked out of there. I felt like I was walking on a little cloud about a foot above the ground.
I'm so glad to hear it, because that is just how I want her to be, because she's just so sunny and lovely.
And especially with her books that she's distributing.
Right.
You can see by people's actions how they really are. You can see that she really cares about people.
Absolutely. I mean, she has a beautiful soul. I mean, just beautiful. And she flew me out to LA to play that song with her on the Tonight Show as well, which was a big kick with Johnny Carson. I played the Tonight Show 3 times with the Flecktones, I think, and once with Kenny Loggins. But the time with Dolly really stands out in my mind. It's special.
I want to ask about inspiration that you had from other people that play the harmonica. I know before we started, I brought up Toots Thielman and everything. I became familiar with his harmonica playing on an album called Cinderella Liberty. I don't know if you're familiar with that album. All the way back, Paul Williams sang in it. John Williams actually composed some of the music. But anyway, who in your world was your inspiration?
Well, many, many different people on many different instruments, because, I started out being inspired by the great blues players like, James Cotton, Junior Wells, Paul Butterfield. I say those were my favorites, and I got a chance to hear all of them live. So that was extra special for me. And in terms of jazz, Toots was genius, and I was very, knocked out by what he did. But since we played different instruments, I couldn't sound like him. I didn't really want to sound like that, because that's a chromatic harmonica. So for jazz playing and all the other stuff, I'm just inspired by, the greatest musicians who played other instruments, John Coltrane, Charlie Parker, Miles Davis, and all sorts of Middle Eastern musicians. And for the piano stuff, obviously, every great classical and jazz pianist. And so my inspiration is very, very broad. And Jaco Pastorius was a huge inspiration to me, actually, especially when I heard his version of Donna Lee recorded on fretless bass. I said, wow, if this guy can play Donna Lee on a fretless bass, maybe I have a chance to be able to play it on a diatonic harmonica. Mm-hmm. So that was one of my big inspirations was Jaco.
Interesting, because you've done with the harmonica, you and Bela sort of have, Bela has done, oh my gosh, just amazing things with that banjo. And so when did you two meet? Because you were a founding member of Bela Fleck and the Flecktones.
Yes, I sure was. And we're actually about to go out on a few tours, which I'll talk about later. But we met at the Winnipeg Folk Festival in 1987. And he was up there with Newgrass Revival. And I was playing with a band called Trapezoid. I don't know if you remember them. They're really great, kind of like acoustic music, hard to describe. And one of the women in Trapezoid, Lorraine Dweezy, kept talking to me about that I should play with Bela, and she kept talking to Bela that he should play with me. And one night she just dragged me down the hall at one of these big after parties to where Bela was sitting, and we just started playing, and we ended up jamming until 7 a.m. at my room with Lorraine and this guy Michael Aaron, who was there also, was playing with Trapezoid, and that's what sort of sparked the whole band. And then Bela met Vic and Roy, Victor Wooten and Roy Wooten. And then he got asked to do a TV show in Louisville, and they wanted him to put together an unusual band. And he said, well, I know some unusual musicians. And so the four of us got together, did that show, looked at each other afterwards and said, I think this is a band. You want to try to do this again? And that's how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Like Kismet. It's amazing. So
Absolutely. Because, I was aware of Bela before, and I think I had even met him or heard him play with Newgrass before and was totally knocked out. But of course, Vic and Roy were total unknowns. And so it was just this coming together of four people who were each pushing the boundaries of their instruments and experimenting with the same spirit, and so that's how that happened.
Well, we have another song that you shared with us. It's from the Art and Adrenaline. I think it's a Steroid Chero. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll take a listen.
Well, this is a duo album with guitarist Chris Siebold, who's a fantastic guitarist. He can play absolutely anything, electric, acoustic. He's been Garrison Keillor's guitarist for like more than 10 years now. And we have a band together, the Howard Levy Four. Chris is the guitarist in that band. But we've also been a duo for, more than 20 years now. We've played duo gigs together. And so the Art Plus Adrenaline album is our one and only duo CD. And this is a tune I wrote when we were, as a result of traveling to Brazil, because I've toured Brazil a bunch of times by myself and also with Chris several times, and have a deep love and appreciation for Brazilian music. This is something that's one of my passions. And so this is in a style of choro, which is a type of music they play down there. And it goes through a whole bunch of different key changes, and it's really intense. And that's why I called it the steroid choro. It's a choro on steroids.
Well, let's take a listen to it. Steroid Chero on the Art and Adrenaline, Howard Levy. And that's Howard Levy on the Art and Adrenaline album, Steroid Hero. You're listening to Art on the Air on Lakeshore Public Media, 89.1 FM, and on WVLP, 103.1 FM.
Well, that's so danceable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Got to move with that one.
It's a marathon for on the harmonica too. It's almost nonstop. And Chris is playing a steel resonator guitar also, which is not usually an instrument you hear in that style of music. And I truly love the way that guitar and the harmonica go together.
Something we've asked our guests, and I know it's a few years in the past, but how did the pandemic impact you? Was that a creative period for you? Because you were kind of locked, but how did that impact you? Well,
it impacted me very heavily because I got it right in the very beginning. My wife really saved my life. The first week of March of 2020, I got incredibly sick. And wow. I had to learn a lot of stuff about how to survive as a musician in this new environment of Zoom and the whole thing. But I ended up doing a lot of recording for a lot of people who wanted to hire me for stuff, doing it remotely I have Pro Tools here at home. And I put out a whole bunch of albums as well. Some of them streaming, some of them physical CDs, the Howard and Jethro CD. It's all on my label, Balkan Samba Records. You can find all this stuff at levyland.com. I made a solo piano recording. Oh God, what's it called? I can't remember the name of my own album. It's terrible. But it's really beautiful. It was all improvised, but they were like compositions that flowed through me because of my isolation. I was just visualizing other times and other places. And God, this is so awful that I forgot what it's called.
So Howard, was that the time that the online school started, or were you doing online lessons and critiques before then?
Oh, I was doing those before. Yeah. That was, that's Artist Works. Yes. That's my online harmonica school, which I am very proud of. I was one of their first teachers, and that started back in 2010. And that's been it was a life-changing thing for me because it put me in touch with a community of harmonica players from all over the world who are extremely appreciative of what I have to offer because I teach everything I know there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful to pass it along. So I don't know if we have enough time for this.
It's called Looking Inward, of course. That's what it's called. And I put out another one called Time Traveler. That's I sort of put myself back in the Renaissance and improvised pieces in compositions in that style on a bunch of different instruments. It's just a lot of recording, and also I wrote 2 books. One during COVID, and one of them afterwards, and they're called Rhythms of the Breath, where I transferred the concepts of drum rudiments to harmonica breathing patterns, single note harmonica breathing patterns. And it was a revelation to me. It's something that I had been doing for a while, but I never did it scientifically. And I think without COVID, I never would have had the time to sit down like a monk in a monastery writing an illuminated manuscript, I mean, that's what it felt like to me.
I know there has to be a balance, doesn't it? The tragedy and the beauty.
Yeah. It was a tragic time, but a time of tremendous, of people looking inward, like the name of my record, and finding things that they, in the course of normal busy life, would never fixate on those things. And so I'm very proud of my books. There's actually 2 of them, and there's more stuff coming out. It's like thanks to my wife, who is my editor and organizer, we were able to put these things out, and they're all available.
Does she play music?
No, she doesn't. She does everything else about as well as a human being could.
Well, Howard, we have only about a minute left. Is there any projects coming up? This show will air early September, but anything coming up in the next short thing? And then tell people how they can find out about you. I think you mentioned your website once, but do it again.
Yeah, it's levyland.com. Absolutely everything's there. I'll have a tour with the Flecktones between Thanksgiving and Christmas, the big holiday tour. And we might be playing in Indianapolis. I can't remember. And
I know Chicago.
How about Chicago, though?
And we're in Chicago too.
We're near Chicago, so
yeah. And and all sorts of other stuff going on. I mean, just there's always a lot of other stuff going on. And also my YouTube channel has a collection. I'm putting things out on social media. This thing called Music Legends You Should Know.
Oh yeah, I've been watching them.
Oh, thank you. I'm really, really proud of it. These are, it stemmed really from my desire to have a radio show where I just turn people on to things I love. And so I get to do it now online and just get a huge audience from all over the world, musicians from that I've covered, like Nikhil Banerjee, the great Indian sitarist, and Jelly Roll Morton, and Harry Lukovsky, this incredible classical jazz violinist.
The Hungarian woman that I just listened to, I can't remember her name right now.
She's Romanian. Her name is Clara Haskell. Absolute genius.
Brilliant.
Pianist. Just genius. And there's more coming. So I try to pick people who really turn me on,
right.
And some of them are famous and some of them are not.
Well, we are out of time, unfortunately, but it's been a pleasure meeting you and talking to you. Howard Levy, he's a musician, a Flecktone, levyland.com, and you can listen to that, find out a whole bunch of information, and reach out there, and we'll have on his picture on our website, we'll have a link to that webpage. Howard, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your art and music journey.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Abundant love.
Oh, thanks, Esther.
We'd like to thank our guest this week on Art on the Air, our weekly program covering the arts and arts events throughout Northwest Indiana and beyond. Art on the Air is heard Sunday at 7 p.m. on Lakeshore Public Media, 89.1 FM, also streaming live at lakeshorepublicmedia.org, and is available on Lakeshore Public Media's website as a podcast. Art on the Air is also heard Friday at 11 a.m. and Monday at 5 p.m. on WVLP 103.1 FM, streaming live at wvlp.org. If you have a smart speaker like Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, or Apple Siri, just tell to play Art on the Air to hear the latest episode. Our Spotlight interviews are heard every Wednesday on Lakeshore Public Media. Thanks to Dee Dotson, Vice President of Radio Operations for Lakeshore Public Media, and to Greg Kovach, WVLP's Station Manager. Our theme music is by Billy Foster with a vocal by Renee Foster. We'd like to thank our current underwriters for Lakeshore Public Media, Ember Forge Consulting, thoughtful marketing and digital learning built to express your purpose and grow your reach. Learn more at emberforgeconsulting.com/grow. And for WVLP, Walt Breidinger of Paragon Investments. So we may continue to bring you Art in the Air. We rely on you, our listeners and underwriters, for ongoing financial support. If you're looking to support Art on the Air, we have information on our website at breck.com/AOTA, where you can find out how to become a supporter or underwriter of our program in whatever amount you are able. And like I say every week, don't give till it hurts. Give till it feels good. You'll feel so good about supporting Art on the Air. If you're interested in being a guest or send us information about your arts-related event or exhibit, please email us at aota@breck.com. That's aota@breck.com, or contact us through our Facebook page. Your hosts were Larry Breckner and Esther Golden, and we invite you back next week for another episode of Art on the Air.
Aloha, everyone. Have a splendid week.
Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. You're in the know with Esther and Larry. Art on the air today. Stay in the know with Larry and Esther. Art on the air our way. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart. Express yourself through art and show the world your heart.